Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 540. I'm Brian Cohen with Best Page Forward, joined again by Shelby Leigh from Marketing by Shelby, a best-selling poetry author, a wonderful book marketing teacher and coach, and, someone who just knows TikTok and Instagram inside and out. I'm happy you're back here, Shelby.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Of course, of course. So we talked a lot about a lot of different things last week. I loved how intrigued you were and said, you wanted to hear more, or kind of just like it's what you wanted to hear, needed to hear about the identity of selling. You've blown up on TikTok, hundreds of thousands of followers. You've sold tons of copies of your book. You've had videos with millions of views. Identity wise, did this ever come up against internal walls where you were saying, like, this isn't me, or this, I don't deserve this, or like, this isn't going to last, or any of those kind of like identity barriers that some people refer to as a money story, where it just doesn't feel right? And like, have you encountered that?
Definitely. Yeah. And I think, well, it's fitting because a lot of my books are about self-doubt and mental health. So, I'm keeping the trend alive. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
definitely, yeah. I think anytime something like big happens, I'm always like, okay, this is it. Like, this is my peak. It's not going to happen again.
Mm.
And it's hard to get out of that mindset. But then I think the more that it happens, like the more that, okay, my books are still selling consistently and I still, I've had this good thing happen again this year or whatever. Like it's a reminder that it's not the end and that good things will continue happening, So yeah, it's definitely something that I've gotten more confident about the longer I've been putting books out and marketing them and everything. But yeah, of course, I definitely still hit those types of like mindset walls.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely an interesting challenge. Like, I know so many authors who are struggling. They assume it's going to be this magic red button that they find in some course or some program, but there are a lot of things that we have to work on internally, a lot of things that, and this even goes, I think, a little bit in a different direction than a lot of the things we talk about on the show, like Becca Syme's strengths and Claire Taylor's Enneagram, which are great for identifying kind of parts of your, your skill set and who you are. But there are these beliefs that we have that are cemented in, and we have to take the chisel to the beliefs that are holding us back, and they may have been reaffirmed by people around us, and it's really, really hard. But sometimes that mental work is where we need to go. With your books about with poems about self-doubt, about these kind of challenges that people run into, like, when people have reached out to you, like, what has impacted them about your work? What has helped them to see that, oh, this isn't a fixed part of myself that is just who I am. This is something that I can actually work on and change.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hearing from readers just, I think the first step is just like, oh, I'm not the only one that feels this way.
Mm.
Because a lot of us don't always externalize how we're feeling and the anxiety that we have and the self doubt that we have. There's this one particular poem that I wrote about social anxiety whenever I was like in high school and early college days of like getting on the bus and going to the store and doing these simple mundane things, but thinking that everyone around me was like judging me and being afraid to like all these things. And that one has been one of the most where people just say like, oh my gosh, you just said how my brain works, but I didn't know that other people felt this way because I was too embarrassed to say it. So I think
Mm.
just hearing that and then them reading the rest of the book and seeing like, okay, there are other ways of thinking. There are ways to work on this and to get more confident over time and to have less self doubt over time, although it's not a very linear path, it goes up and down. But I think that's like the main impact that, you know, it feels amazing to hear other readers, come to me with that feedback.
Yeah, which book contains this poem?
That one is Changing with the Tides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. You can find it everywhere that good books are sold. But
Thank you.
yeah, of course. Hey, I'm here for you. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you could even rewrite that poem for the author world. Like I checked into my Facebook and I could feel everyone around me judging me, and
Yes.
um, it can be scary. But I mean, do you have any suggestions for authors who are feeling like every time they put themselves out there on marketing, on social media to market their books, that they are being judged or that they will be judged? Like, what suggestions do you have?
Yeah, I think it really helps to just think about like one ideal reader in your mind whenever you post. We don't want to be thinking about, well, someone could see this and hate it, because they're not our target audience. Like, they're not who we're spending time trying to reach. We're spending time trying to reach our ideal readers. So just thinking of them every time you post, picturing people coming across your post and saying, wow, this book sounds amazing, I'm interested, or wow, this author seems great, I love their sense of humor, or I love their personality. Like, the positives that can come from social media, those connections that you can make with readers and other authors. um, Obviously it's easier said than done, but I think just thinking of that over time, and having that reader in mind has really changed my mindset. When I was like, my family's going to see this and my
Hmm.
friends are going to see it and it's embarrassing. No, they're not my ideal readers. My readers are my ideal readers, and that's who I'm trying to speak to.
Oh, I love that. I feel like I'm taking notes here myself. So, thank you for sharing that. All right. Well, let's get into well, I'll do one ad read here. So I keep harping on this every week, but I'm out here, I'll be judged a little bit. That's fine. But if you are a 6 or a 7 figure author, we have coaching. We have an author ads agency for Amazon ads. Love to work with you. If you want to scale up, then email us, brian@sellingforauthors.com. We'll get you connected with the team and figure out the best way to help you reach your goals. I talked to just today 2 authors who said, I'm a 6-figure author trying to get to 7. I said, all right, well, let's work on this. Let's figure it out, because it is a fun challenge for our team to help people do that. But we have, and we'd love to do more. So awesome. Now to the previous week's question, which was, what thing could happen that you would consider viral success beyond your wildest book dreams? You, having had viral success, Shelby, I might have to ask you what your next wildest book dream would be. But Susan J. Bruce said Netflix or Amazon wants to make it into a streaming series. Cass Medcalf said someone writes fan fiction of my characters. And Paula Smith McLean said a picture of Taylor Swift carrying my YA romance. I love all of these. Shelby, what would your answer be?
Yeah, those are good picks. I think my gut is telling me like a Reese Witherspoon book club pick would be pretty cool.
Ooh,
I don't know if
yes.
she picks poetry, but if she does, Reese, let's talk.
Reese, you don't listen to this show, but if you did, please pick up Shelby's
She's
new
gonna
book.
click this episode. I
I
can
know,
I
this
can
is the
feel
one.
it.
Should I just make the title Reese Witherspoon come
Listen to
click
this.
this
Yeah.
one? Yeah, awesome. I can do
Perfect.
that. You can answer the question of the week over at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group, or the sellmorebookshow.com website. Let's go into the top story today. Shop Talk. UK book retailer Books to Door recently opened a third warehouse after reaching 400,000 plus euros in sales since opening its TikTok shop, according to Publishers Weekly. The retailer saw a 38% increase in book sales over the first half of 2023, and a large contributor to that was TikTok shop. The company plans to lean into the investment with more employees and an on-site TikTok studio. Earlier this summer, the New York Times reported that author Keela Shaheen had sold nearly 700,000 copies of her book, The Shadow Work Journal, through TikTok Shop. The book has been big money for influencers as well, as one affiliate for the book, Cone Glay, sold over 40,000 copies of the book, of Shaheen's book, from a viral post, leading to over $150,000 in commissions. the article says, quote, Shaheen's stunning trajectory has left many authors and publishers wondering whether that formula can be replicated and how publishers can navigate the new online retail ecosystem, a fast-moving, algorithm-driven marketplace that threatens to cut them out entirely. End quote. Shelby, TikTok Shop, man. I keep hearing things, authors trying it out, some having no success, some having this kind of level of success. What have you been thinking as a very knowledgeable TikTok person yourself? What have you been thinking about when it comes to seeing people succeed on TikTok Shop?
Yeah, it's so interesting to see this take off for so many authors and like knowing that, Instagram has had like Instagram shopping, but I feel like TikTok has just taken this and like exploded it when it comes to
Mm,
both like sellers, authors, but also the affiliate, like you mentioned in this article, of being able to make over 150K in commissions from being an affiliate for, another book.
yeah.
Um, I I just think that this is going to continue to grow. I don't see it slowing down. I think, like you mentioned this article, like now publishers trying to figure out how to get in on this because a lot of indie authors are using it. But I think we're going to, see more and more like traditional publishers and all of that want to get a piece of the pie as well.
Oh, absolutely. And having worked with an author who listens to the show, Jeffrey Mason, who's had great success on TikTok Shop with his Dad, I Want to Hear Your Story books. Go check them out. There's copycats. Make sure to get the ones by Jeffrey Mason. But yeah, I mean, he's had such great success and didn't even have a huge TikTok following. It was because of the affiliates. It was because of these commissions. And so I've got to ask you the hot potato wisdom question number one here, Shelby. It kind of seems like this combination of strong TikTok traction plus affiliate marketing, which, people used to push Amazon associates, but the commission's too low. You
Yeah.
can set a 20% commission on these. So this combo of has worked really well for authors on TikTok Shop. How do you see this developing over time?
Yeah. Well, I think it's just more and more authors taking control of their sales and their marketing and being able to ship out, copies to their readers and getting affiliates to, promote their books. It's really like a business operation, honestly, even if that sounds,
Mm,
scary. It really can be for authors. And so I think that's going to, surely continue. And then I hope to see more like print on demand providers as well for indie
mm,
authors, because a lot of authors are ordering author copies and shipping them out themselves. And TikTok has a pretty fast turnaround time that you have to ship within. And that's causing a lot of authors to not want to try it. So I'm hoping that more providers will want to jump in to, this platform and open up another stream of revenue for their business and offer that to authors who want to do TikTok Shop. So I'm definitely curious about that. And then, like I said before, just more publishers also wanting to use TikTok Shop, who I think are currently missing out on this opportunity to really meet readers where they are.
yeah. No, I mean, the readers are there. The readers are buying. And so
Absolutely.
you gotta consider it. All right, I'm ready for my question.
Yeah. So the elephant in the room is that TikTok in the US is hanging in the balance. Should authors even consider TikTok Shop if there's a chance it could go away?
I mean, this is a challenging thing because no one really knows if TikTok is going to continue to be accessible in the United States. I think my money would be that when money is involved, they will find a way. But
Mhm.
um, even if there's a chance it'll go away, I mean, think of how many authors are spending months writing a hockey romance, which is a hot trend right now, but might not be in 4 months. Hopefully it is, my hockey romance authors, but it's one of those things that we live in a fast moving world. And those who are willing to take action rather than to just think about things, they are more likely to see results. It can't just be brainstorming. It can't just be taking programs. It has to be taking action. And so I do think, especially if you are focused on physical books, because this has worked really well for physical books, because you cannot yet sell an ebook on TikTok Shop. Wish you could, but currently it's just physical books. And so I think even though there's a chance it could go away, I think that if you can overcome the hurdle of fulfillment, whether that is you shipping out, having a good system for shipping out books yourself, or you work with a company that'll ship out the books for you, I think that it can be worth trying.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Now we both need one, right?
Right.
Okay, let's go into the lightning round, Shelby. I'm ready for your prepared lightning sound.
Kablam.
Ooh, that's good. That was
Thanks.
good. I liked it. Yeah, very good. All right. So, Shelby, on TikTok, there's a lot to be said about finding trends and modeling what has worked for others for yourself. Do you think it is worth copying the trendsetters?
Yeah, great question. I think there's absolutely a lot of value in taking a look at what others are doing who are doing well and making your own version of it. It's very rare that a direct copy is going to do well because your audience is different, your readers are different, your book is different. So you have to know your readers and what makes your books and author brand different. But that being said, the styles of videos that tend to perform well will likely still perform well for you if you can adapt and tailor it to your audience. So like 7 to 10-second videos with a strong hook that speaks to your audience, or slideshow videos, which we talked about last week quite a bit, of really emotional or exciting, quotes from your book, all have a great chance of doing well, but they should have imagery and music adjusted for your specific book or brand. So for me, like a lot of trends tend to be really high energy or fast music, and my brand is very slow and calm, mental. So if I was just copying what others were doing without it feeling like me or my brand, my audience would not resonate most likely. So you have to, yes, do your research and see what is doing well for others while also making it your own.
I guess there's not too much death metal going along with the self-doubt
Yeah.
poetry.
No, surprisingly not.
Huh, strange,
I
strange.
know. I know.
But great answer. Thank you. I'm ready for my question.
So, can you sell directly from social media posts, or should you drive readers to your newsletter first?
This is a great question. I think that we as a author society do fail to send as much traffic to our newsletters as we possibly can. And it's across multiple industries. I was just on a mastermind call with a group of friends, and a guy with 300,000 TikTok followers has 2,500 people on his email list, and he needs to close that gap. I asked him the question, uh, what would you have to do if you had to get 10,000 email subscribers by the end of the year? He's like, that's a good question, because we don't know when an algorithm will change. So it is helpful, I think, at least once a week you should be driving traffic to a newsletter. If you have links in your bio, at least one of them should be people joining your newsletter. Yes, you can sell directly. You can sell directly from ads. You can sell directly from posts. But some of the time, and you might make the case that over 50% of the time would be better, you might want to consider driving traffic to your email list instead.
I love it. That was something that I did not do for the first probably 3 years of using social
Mm-hmm.
media, and I just cry thinking about all the lost email subscribers that I could have
Me
had.
too.
But yeah, it's definitely not something that I thought about in the beginning, and now I'm playing catch up.
I had over 500,000 downloads of a perma-free ebook,
Wow.
a self-helpy ebook, no email list. Like,
No.
it
Yeah.
still hurts my
Yeah,
heart.
right. The
Um,
things we learn
yeah,
over time.
I know, exactly. So, Shelby, what unique strategies? Look, we've talked about porting things over to fiction, but look, there are some poets that listen here. What unique strategies can poets use on social media to promote their books?
Yeah, well, talking about like affiliates with TikTok Shop just got me thinking about the connections that I've built outside of poetry. Because I think the unique thing about poetry, and I guess, similar to nonfiction though, is like there's typically topics or themes within your poetry book that will resonate with people even if they don't love poetry or know that they love poetry already. And so, something that I didn't do in the beginning that I have done now for multiple years is like connecting with other people in my niche that aren't poets, like mental health niche for me, other creators who talk about self love and the topics that I write about, who are perfect advocates for what I'm writing about. But aren't necessarily poetry lovers, but could be. Just making those connections that I've sent, some of those people my books to share with their audiences, and just building those connections. Like we don't have to just focus on people who are already reading poetry because yes, modern poetry continues to grow, but I think we also have like that ability to, with the themes and topics in our books, connect with other creators who are talking about those themes and collaborate with them in some way. Like, so I've done some like live streams with other creators who, again, are outside of the poetry community to try to widen my audience in that way. So, yeah, I think just thinking outside the box of who else could possibly be a target reader, because there's so many people who are yet to find poetry or get into poetry who will be, and have found one book that totally changes, their thoughts on it and makes them really enjoy it as a genre.
I feel like you just made me understand why, how there've been some very, very successful poets
Yes.
uh in the last 5 years even.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just made me realize why. It
Yeah.
is because people who don't even typically read poetry, but who have a lot of followers, have a lot of connections, they will share a poem that speaks to them.
Yes.
And so, for all those poets out there who are thinking, "Oh, no one will ever see this. Poetry is a small genre." Um, if it was a movie, poetry can be 4 quadrants, can be something that your mom, your kid, your brother, your grandpa will share. And so hey, that's awesome wisdom you just shared there, Shelby.
Thank you. Yeah.
Of
God, it was
course.
helpful.
Yeah, I'm ready for the next one.
How do you think social media differs between fiction and nonfiction?
So, as an author who promotes nonfiction a lot, it is really interesting because I see and get a little bit jealous seeing people get to promote their really colorful covers and their awesome characters in their fiction. But in nonfiction, there's a lot of teaching, and I think that one of the things I'm learning more and more about social media is it's not even necessarily about teaching in the video. Like that is what I've always done is teach on webinars, teach in videos. But in this trendy Instagram, TikTok time, so much of it is about them connecting with you and them resonating with a particular problem that you say, "Hey, I can solve this." And then they connect with you off the platform. It's not People don't come to social media to learn most of the time. They go to YouTube to learn.
Yeah.
But if they come to social media and they happen to find out you can teach them something, that's when they maybe make a connection with you off the platform. And that has been hard for me as a teaching first video person. But you've helped me through that, Shelby, and it's definitely something I've learned more and more when you see these people who I'm sure are wonderful, with 100,000 plus followers in a particular nonfiction niche. And
Yeah.
all their videos is just a rotating of 3 different hooks that they do with slightly different next 3 seconds. And then it's just some kind of call to action or post this comment below and I'll reach out to you. And that ends up being 99% of their posts. And then you see them with a ton of followers afterwards. And so those are some of the ways I see those two genres differing. I do think we lost Shelby here. We'll see if we can get her back on the call, but we're still going. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to answer this. Well, we'll wait briefly to see if Shelby can reconnect before we go into the fourth post. What I will say is to just remind people that if they can, let's see. We're having trouble getting Shelby back on. So I am going to see if I can get her figured out here because I don't want to. All right, we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we've got Shelby back here. So Shelby, last question here of the lightning round is how can authors repurpose content from one social media platform to another? And do readers care? Are readers going to notice and judge us if they see that we have used that content in more than one platform?
No, I don't think readers are judging us for this. I think when readers follow us on multiple platforms, there's an expectation that they might see something twice, but a lot of times they're not going to see every post that you put out. So definitely okay to repurpose from one platform to another. We have to be a little bit careful when it comes to reposting the exact same thing, though. With TikTok now, you can download your content before you post it, because once you post it, it has that watermark on it. And Instagram has said we don't want to see other watermarks from our competitors on, your content on Instagram. So just being mindful of that whenever you do repost. But I repost quite often. I like to just make my content with my phone, camera versus making it in one particular platform. That way I always have that like raw file to use again and again if I want to. But definitely, like if you're posting a video to TikTok and you also use Instagram, make the most of it and post it to Instagram as well. We don't have time to be making unique content for every platform that we're using. I think that's just asking a little too much of us. Or you can also repurpose it into a different format. So, for example, you might take a caption that you posted on a TikTok video and repurpose it into a Facebook post, or even going outside of social media, I repost into my newsletters or repurpose into my newsletters and things like that. Or if you do a talking video, take that transcript and post it as just a regular, caption of your social media post or a Facebook post or a threads, or, there's ways to repurpose in different formats as well, which I think is really helpful, so that we're not always creating from scratch. And I like to do an exercise every few months where I look over my past like top content and see how can I repurpose this into a new format, because it just saves so much time.
Oh, I love that. That's so smart. I think us authors tend to reinvent the wheel every so often, but that exercise of going back and looking at what's worked,
Yeah.
which I know you've told me, and making sure that you can go back to it and try it again. And so, absolutely great advice once again, Shelby. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Question of the week time. We talked TikTok shop today. We talked selling versus email list building, trends, poet strategies. What do you want to ask a question about here today, Shelby?
I think I want to know, since I mentioned like Reese Witherspoon at the beginning of this episode. So if you got a TikTok shop order from anyone, like who would light you up to see a celebrity, someone you really look up to, ordered your book?
Order from your most excited celebrity person.
Yes.
Who would it be? I love that. Okay. You can answer that question of the week over at sellmorebookshow.com or the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. Shelby, where can people find you to work with you, and where can people find your poetry?
Thank you. Marketingbyshelby.com is my website if you want to learn more about what I offer other authors and creatives in terms of social media marketing. I also post weekly marketing videos on YouTube, also at Marketing by Shelby. And my books are available anywhere you can get books under the name Shelby Leigh, or you can check out my website, shelbyleigh.co, for my books.
Awesome. Wonderful, Shelby. It's been such a delight having you here today, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Of course. So folks, you can definitely post a review on the Sell More Book Show. We haven't asked that in a while, but please feel free. Been here 10 years. If you've been listening for 10 years, never posted a review over on Apple Podcasts, go feel free to do so. You can check out our Best Page Forward shop at shop.bestpageforward.net for blurbs and coaching and all that good stuff. And we'll have another wonderful guest co-host next week. But for Shelby, I'm Brian. Have a great week of book selling, everybody, and we'll be back for episode 541. Bye.
Bye.